changing it up today. I know this is all supposed to be about Vietnam, but dear to my heart are veterans who fall between the cracks. Veterans who don't get the benefits that unfortunately our poor guys from Vietnam with Agent Orange and Camp Lejeune Water and Blue Water Navy and all these other benefits that they get that are cut and dry that they fight for years to get. But there's a lot of veterans that fall through the cracks, and I've become an activist, and I became an activist when I was very young. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I was a kid from Southwest Philly, lived in a row home, had 2 brothers and a sister. Me and my 3 brothers slept in the same bed. We slept sideways. We didn't sleep long ways, you know, and it was good. We always conned my one brother into rubbing our backs when we rolled, you know, so it was good. I graduated high school in 1964, West Catholic High School, and back then, you hung on a corner. I don't know what you young guys do today, besides, I shouldn't know what my grandkids do. They play games, video games, telephone. That's all I see. But we hung on a corner. And that was the most important thing of our lives, was hanging on that corner. You know, as soon as you can get out from dinner, you ran to the corner. You know, and you met the girls, the guys, and just hung on a corner. You know, sometimes in 10-degree weather, like nuts. But that's what we did. Well, back in that time when Vietnam, nobody was on the corner. There was 1 of 3 options. You either went to college, you got that deferment, went to college, and a lot of them just went away to college, you didn't see them. You went in the service, or you went to Canada. And that was it. So I was 17 when I graduated. Didn't like the way life was going. And I decided to volunteer for the draft, like a nut, you know, because everybody going to the draft were going to Vietnam. That you were drafted, you had a definite ticket. I was 18 years old, and I was one of the lucky ones. I thought maybe I'd go in the Army, I'll see some different sights, see the world. Well, I went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina for basic training for 8 weeks. Came home two weeks for Christmas. You know, got 2 weeks to spend at home and play the hero routine. Then went back to another 8 weeks at Fort Jackson. The only thing I discovered at Fort Jackson was a lot of sand. A lot of sand. And then we left to Seattle, Washington, Oakland, California. Oakland, California. And the whole company that we trained with in advanced infantry, and like John said, there was no jungle warfare, there was no advanced training. You just had the basic training, advanced infantry training. This was all basic, and they told us we were all going to Vietnam. The morning we woke up, we all called our families, told us that we were going, et cetera, et cetera. And when we got out on the runway, before we boarded the plane, the company commander turned around and said they changed their orders and we were going to Korea. So I did not go to Vietnam. I spent 17 months in Korea. So the only thing I saw in the military was 16 weeks of Fort Jackson and 17 months of Korea. That was it. I never saw anything else. But when I came home, that corner was an important part of our lives growing up. 6 of my dear friends got killed in Vietnam. 18 of my classmates got killed in Vietnam. West Catholic had 18 members of their student body, and we were a big school. What amazes me, if you stop and think about it, Wildwood High School, which only has about, 200 kids enrolled each year at the most, they had 7 killed in Vietnam. You know, break down the ratio. West Catholic, we had 1,000 kids graduating a year back in the 60s. It was tremendous numbers, but we lost 18. And I think when I came home, that really hit me, really stuck to me, and it changed me. Because I played Little League ball, I went to church, made our Holy Communion, made our confirmation, went to dances, with these guys. They were my buddies, my pals, the closest guys I associated with growing up. And my family, my mother and father were both very deeply involved with the American Legion, very deeply involved. And they were involved with a William P. Roach post at 64th and Pascal. It was one of the biggest American Legions in Philadelphia. So naturally, when I come home, my father was proud, my mother was proud that I was a veteran and they were going to sign me up in the American Legion and all this stuff. And I had a mentor by the name of John Stewart who worked for the VA, who got me involved as a post service officer helping veterans get their benefits. He even talked me into, I thought it was the greatest job in the world till I found out I was only making $4,800 a year. With at 5500 Wissahickon Avenue, I became a VA representative. But that's what steered me into what I do today and what I've been doing for the last 35 years. So I'm going to talk a little bit something about differently. Other than Vietnam, I'm going to talk about benefits. I've been fortunate enough to, for 12 years, I started a nonprofit here in Cape May. And it came about very unexpectedly. I was the commander of the Disabled American Veterans. In the state of New Jersey, every county has a DAV. So here in Cape May County, they have one right down here in Delhaven. And I was the commander for 2012 to 2015. And I got a phone call one day from a member of ours who had a business in Wildwood. It said, John, you know so-and-so, the guy that works on our bikes, the 68-year-old U.S. Navy Vietnam vet. Yeah, I know him, exactly. Nice guy. He said, this was December 12th. I'll never forget it. He said he's going to be homeless December 26th. He's going to be living on the street. How can this happen? How can this happen? A guy that retired from the Navy, was a veteran, served in Vietnam. Well, I found out, did some digging research, and we all heard this story before. The guy got involved, he got disenchanted with his family, broke away from him, met a woman, lived with her for 40 years, never married. The woman dies, and her kids give him 2 weeks to get out of the house. He got no place to go. That's how CVAC, this group on the top of here, CVAC, Citizens and Veterans Advisory Committee at Cape May County got started. First thing I did, I went back to my chapter and I asked my chapter members, what can we do to help this guy? I explained the situation, and we put up some money, and we talked about possibly putting him in a motel. And next thing on the agenda was, how can I get more people involved? I had no clue what social media was. I'm 79 years old. This happened 12 years ago. I didn't even know what a computer was. I didn't go on a computer. Thank God I got 15 grandkids because they taught me the computer. Come on, Pop. Every time they came down, come on, Pop, we're going in your room. Get on the computer. Get on the computer. Taught me Facebook, social media, got on it, explained the story. 18 people stepped up. Fortunately, one of them was the director of HUD here in Cape May County. And he got involved, and long story short, we got this guy in the housing we had to put him in a motel. We took it out of our pockets, the 18 people that got involved, put him in a motel for 3 weeks. And to this day, he's down in Wildwood in that public housing unit doing well, still with us. That's how CVAC got started. And I thought to myself, wow, if we can do this to one vet and keep him off the street, just imagine if we were organized. And we put together an organization and somehow really got it working together, what we could do. So we reached out. I reached out to a woman from the American Red Cross by the name of Carol Cohen, who was a real diehard volunteer. She has since retired. And she was from North Jersey, but she worked down here in Cape May County. And she put together some more people who were more on a professional basis and were more organized than we were as individuals. And next thing you know, we had 60-some volunteers. 60-some volunteers, and we've done things that have been remarkable. And I got to thank John that's here. John's American Legion Post 331 has been one of our biggest benefactors. And let me explain what I mean by that. This is a particular incident. We had a 92-year Korean vet, 92-year-old Korean vet who fell twice getting in and out of his tub. Broke his hip the second time. Fell between the cracks. None of this was VA connected. He served, did his time. He was like 60% rated, wasn't 100% to have the full benefits to get full entitlements. And we felt that we wanted to help him, and we remodeled his bathroom. We ripped out the tub, put in a walk-in shower, put bars around, handicap bars, made his toilet, got him a new toilet, raised it up higher, made the whole bathroom handicap accessible. It cost us $10,000. CVAC, we have a policy and a program that when we help a veteran, we can help them up to $3,000 per year per veteran. So what do? We reach out to American Legion 331 and say, hey, can you give us a couple of $1,000s? Then we get on the phone to Greater Wildwood Elks. Can you give us $2,000? Then we get on the phone to American Legion in Ocean City. And by God, it's a community, it's a village working together that we've brought together, that we help our veterans. And we've been doing that for the last 12 years. Over that period, we've helped over 200 veterans and spent well over $200,000. And we've done things like put roofs on for a widow, put windows into a veteran's house. I walked into a veteran's house we went to see him because he's bedridden with the back injuries, and his wife has breast cancer, and they can't even clean the house. So we went in there to see what we could do. When we went in there, you could see daylight through the wood, the cracks in the windows. And we went in and remodeled put all new windows in his home. But it's a village coming together, and it's helping our veterans that fall through the cracks. And it's important that we understand. I'm going to say this to you young people, because I see this every day. You won't see it now, but in a few years, if you have mothers or fathers that are veterans, make sure they're getting their veterans benefits. One of the most discouraging things that I see and I do each and every month is I run across a family that goes to the undertaker that doesn't have the faintest idea what their benefits are, because their mother and father never told them. They never asked. The worst call I would take is my dad is 90 years old and he needs help from the VA. I literally got to tell him it's too late. By the time he gets his benefits, he'll be dead. Am I right, John? The benefits are there for those that qualify. There is a qualifying. There's organizations like CVAC can help those that don't qualify. But we need to get them into their benefits. So that was one part of the story. The next part was my magazine. If you come in, you'll see the Veterans Corner News on the counter. That's 10 years old. The mission statement and the purpose of the magazine, unfortunately, the VA, wonderful institution, does amazing things, but they don't give you anything. And most of the guys in here that are in the VA system know exactly what I'm talking about. What I mean by not giving you anything, they don't send you a postcard or a letter saying we just changed Agent Orange, we got 7 new cancer additives that have been attached to Agent Orange. Okay? They don't tell you that. You got to go on the computer, you got to Google, And you got to go searching through all this information for the VA and find out all the changes. Unfortunately, our World War II guys are 100 years old. Our Korean guys are 90. Our Vietnam guys, us in here, are late 70s, early 80s. Better than 80% of them don't go on a computer, so they don't get the information. Mission and purpose of my magazine was to go find this information, Google it, put it in the magazine, so our older veterans can read it and get it. That's the whole purpose of it. So I ask you, when you're here and you're visiting, or if you live here, hand one of the magazines to a veteran, especially an older veteran, so we can find out what's available for him. Not only is it the VA, we put a lot of good information in that magazine about other nonprofits, other organizations that are helping veterans, that people have no clue. And there's a lot of organizations down here in Cape May County that help our veterans. They help them financially, they help them food banks. We got food banks in every county down here. We have 3 or 4 right down here in Lower Township that do an outstanding job. And believe me, there's veterans going without food. There's veterans looking for help. I'm going to wrap it up pretty much with September 24th. September 24th is going to be probably, I'm hoping, to be the biggest event in South Jersey history. And what is going to be done is CVAC is going to sponsor it. And we're going to have a benefit event for not only veterans, but veterans' families. It's going to be held at the Wildwood Convention Center. It's a Wednesday. It's going to be 8 to 9 is going to be a breakfast. 9 to 4 is going to be, we're going to have 60 to 80 tables of vendors who are going to be passing out information, flyers, programs, whatever, putting in veterans' hands and veterans' families information of organizations that do something for veterans. I'm hoping the wives come, because the wives will get it done. These guys will walk around looking for the beer. You know, they'll find out where the goodies are. You know, but the wives will get it done. We're going to have 3 meeting rooms with continuous information sessions. People like the VA talking about how you get in a veteran cemetery. You know, I took a phone call a couple of weeks ago. My good friend Rick Rader and I are Knights of Columbus together, and whenever Rick gets in a jam with the VA, he calls me. And he says, "John, can you come over here? I got a case here that I need some help with." Young girl, her father died. They'd been on the ins and outs for years, and now they just finally got back together. Well, she's up to about $13,000 in planning the funeral. She's got all the whistles and horns and the limousine and everything. She's got everything going. And Rick says, "You know, you're up to about $13,000. And she says, "That's okay, that's okay. My father was a veteran. He was 100%. The VA will bury him." Well, you know what the VA gives them? $250, and they open the grave. That's it. We need to know, to get that information to families. Don't find out when you go to the undertaker. Don't do that. You know, we're going to have the judge surrogate at Cape May County, Marie Hayes, talk about what the duties are of a judge surrogate and the importance of a will. You know, these are things people need to hear, need to do. We don't want to hear this. We don't want to do this, but we need to do it. Don't find out the day you're sitting with the undertaker. Please. We're also going to have a guest speaker. My biggest fear in this whole deal, this is going to cost CVAC about $10,000, this whole event. Advertising, rental of the convention center. Just the box lunches alone. The box lunches alone are $35 a piece. And you got to use their vendor. You know, we can't give them, and all they're going to give you is a sandwich, an apple, water, and a bag of chips for $35, yeah. But it is what it is. We need to get the information out. My biggest fear is we're going to have more vendors than we're going to have veterans. And if that happens, it's a flop. And that's something that we fear with each and every one of these ventures that we do. So as a keynote speaker, we're going to have a keynote speaker, and he's an excellent speaker. I've heard him twice before. His name is Ralph Galati. He spent 14 months in a POW prison, the Hanoi Hilton Hotel in Vietnam. He was there with 580 other POWs. He was only there for 14 months. Some of them were there for 7 years or longer. His talk is about how they survived. Their faith in God, their hope and love with their family to see them again, and their relationship and their beliefs in fellow man, their fellow prisoners, how they depended on each other. The first time I heard this talk, I cried. This man was beaten just about every day of his entire captivity, along with everybody else. They used to march him through the villages, and the villagers used to beat him with sticks, just like they did with our Savior at his resurrection. You know, this is what they went through. And when you hear him talk and you get to meet him and see him, you would never know he went through that, because he's a man of God, he's a man of faith, and he's an American hero. So I want to kind of just open it up for questions. I just can't overemphasize benefits. Benefits. Please reach out and get them. I just left it before I came here. I did a ceremony for a 77-year-old. I think I mentioned this when I came in. A 77-year-old Vietnam vet, Agent Orange. And I talked to this guy for many times. Tom, when are you going to get your benefits? I don't need them. I was a Philly cop, had great insurance, retired as a Philly cop, got great benefits, don't need it. Well, when he got older, he found out he needed hearing aids, okay? And guess what? If you're in the program, the VA program, you get a $5,000 free pair of hearing aids. You know? $5,000, am I right, John?
Every 5 years and every 4 years.
Eyeglasses. They give you eyeglasses. Every veteran served 90 days active duty is entitled to 2 physicals a year, eyeglasses, hearing aids, and a $7, somewhere's around that $7, you may raise it a little bit, copay for your drugs, for your prescriptions. Not every veteran knows that. You know why? VA will never tell you. They'll never tell you. You gotta go find it. You gotta go find it. So you need to get your benefits. Get involved. If you know anybody, you want to do somebody a favor, they're in the military, ask them if they got their benefits. If they didn't, help. Go ahead.
Listen, we've been through this. I mean, I encourage every veteran. I mean, I have a brother that went to Vietnam before I did.
Yeah.
He wants nothing to do with it.
Yep.
I said, Mike, just sign up. You gotta just get in the system, because you may not need it right now, but if you're in the system, you can activate it pretty easily. You can't just walk in and say, here I am, because the paperwork goes on.
And that's the other thing. It takes so long. Some veterans get frustrated and disgusted and just walk away from it. But like John said, get in it. It may take a year. My oldest son spent 26 years in the Marine Corps, had 7 deployments. He retired as an E8 Marine Sergeant, First Sergeant, a top they call. And it took him 3 years to get 100% rated. 3 years, and he had issues. 7 deployments, mind you. He had real serious issues. That VA's job is to save the government money, and our job is to get that veteran his benefits, because once you put your name on that dotted line, whether you serve in combat or you don't, you're entitled. One of the most unfairest things that's going on, and we've been fighting it for the last 20 years, our National Guard and our reserves do not get the same benefits that active duty personnel get. And ever since this Afghanistan, Iraq, some of these National Guard kids have been doing 6 and 7 deployments. They've been going more often than regular outfits went during war. They've spent more time on active duty in combat zones. And just an example, if you're a veteran and you served during a conflict, you get down here in Lower Township, you get a $250 tax rebate off your income taxes. Effective 26, that goes from $250 to $500. 27, it goes to $1,000. 28, it goes to $1,500 till it works its way up to $2,500. But it doesn't include our reserves and National Guard. They deserve the same thing. They deserve the same thing because they sign their name on the same line. They can be sent any place, killed any day, and go through the same thing an active duty individual goes through. But they're not treated the same. And it's not right, it's not fair. We've been fighting that for 20 years, and we'll continue to fight it. So benefits is a big deal. We hope you reach out, help people get them. And if you don't, reach out to Peggy, reach out to anybody that's active in an American Legion, a VFW. They all have service officers, they all can help. You know, one of the things I want to say about this place in closing, I knew Peggy's father back in the 60s and 70s. Tom was a cop, right? He was a police officer in Darby. He was a sidekick of my brother. My brother was a police officer in Yeadon. And they're small little Delaware County towns, and they all hang together. When you found out the bar, they were the most secure bar in the neighborhood. But I used to run around with Tom. And you want to talk about a few laughs. When they heard Walker and Collins, you know, they chuckled. They didn't believe it. They didn't believe I was Johnnie Walker. They didn't believe he was Tom Collins. And they used to get a giggle out of it. But I've kind of been here from the beginning. I'm down here 25 years. One of the first guys I met down here when I found Tom had something to do with this because we knew each other back in Philadelphia. You know, I used to come over here a lot, spend a lot of time with him, and I helped him here wherever I could. Tom did everything here. He got no assistance from the Lower Township. He got no assistance from the county. He got no assistance from the state. Mostly everything that came in here either came out of his pocket or was freely donated by veterans to put in here. Tom did an amazing job. And Tom is one of them stubborn guys too that you had to march him to get him to do the paperwork because he stubborn as they could be. And him and Tony, they were two peas in a pod. You saw Tony here on the film. When Tom died, my biggest concern was what was going to happen to this place. And I finally met Peggy and your sister and your brother. And we sat down, we had a nice little conversation. And I said, I want to do anything we possibly can to keep this open. Because this isn't just a museum, by no means. This is a sanctuary. And what I mean by that, I've been here enough times to see veterans like John Austin just sit here and just want to be here by themselves, alone, and think, and clear their head. My biggest concern, this place was going to close and that sanctuary was going to go away. We had a member, actually, got to give Dennis Surfer a shout out. Denny's a member of CVAC. He's been for the last several years. Don't know what we do without him. Some of the things we do with CVAC, we go and visit older veterans just to sit with them and talk to them. Denny's done that numerous times. We take veterans to and from their medical appointments when they can't get a ride. We have women that go in and clean their houses, our older veterans that are widowers. We have women that go do their shopping at the Acme or the ShopRite, you know, that they can't do it themselves. Our group of volunteers has grown from 60-some to 80-some, and nobody gets paid a dime. Nobody takes expenses. It's just a village coming together, and people like Tom, myself, John's in that category. The help they give us, our friends at Wildwood Elks, what they do for us. If it weren't for those people, we couldn't do what we do. But we had a woman that joined CVAC, and she had severe PTSD. You're not going to meet many female veterans that saw combat. You're not going to meet them. I don't care where you go. There's a case back there. There's a case back there that belongs to Michelle Fenimore. Michelle is a Bronze Star recipient. A Bronze Star recipient. Okay, and she got that not for knitting, not for crocheting. She did something brave to get that. Michelle didn't want to come out of her house. She came to our meetings, and she would do some things, but she didn't want to come out of her house. And I went to Michelle and I said, Michelle, I think I got a perfect opportunity for you. Did I not, Peg? I think I got a perfect opportunity for you, and that is the Vietnam Museum. I said, I think it's going to do more for you than you'll do for them. Is that working, John? It is working. She's a masterpiece. I've seen some of the letters that she's received from veterans that met her from out of state that came and visited this place. And I've seen the love that she has for this place and what she and how she took to this place. She's not the same Michelle Fenimore I met 7 years ago when she first came to CVAC. Not the same woman. She's out of her shell. She's confident. And more importantly than anything, she's a Bronze Star recipient. And that means a hell of a lot in my book. I want to thank you for your time. I hope I gave you some helpful information. And if you can reach out to me anytime, I'm easy to find. Ask anybody in Cape May County where Johnnie Walker is. They'll tell you. Thank you.